Tasmania is a land of rugged landscapes and untouched wilderness. It's comparable in size to that of Scotland in the UK, and it's made up of vast mountain ranges, dense forests, raging river systems, crystal clear lakes, and hundreds of kilometres of spectacular coastline. This place is simply amazing, and it's home to some of the best four-wheel driving in Australia. Let me tell you, excited to be here is an understatement. I'm jumping back in the D-Max for this trip, and that's great because not only is it capable, but it's downright comfortable. Ah, we've got us a little water crossing. I suppose it is Tasmania. Everywhere you go, there's water crossings. Nice and slow in. Whoops. Nice and slow in. That's the way. Look at that. Pretty as a picture. Look at that up there. Beautiful. Shauno, of course, is in his old mate, the Dirty 30.
Yeah, how good's Tassie? Pretty scenic wherever you look.
Keep coming back to this place, but I tell you what, I wouldn't miss it for the world.
And Rocket from Wholesale Auto is in his 79 series automatic. That's right, it's an automatic. Jake and Elliot, our two local Tassie mates in the patrol. Now Jake runs a fabrication shop here in Tassie, and have a look at that truck, you really can tell. It's time to air down before we hit the tracks. Now, having spoken with Jake and Elliot, we've come up with a plan to drive the Mount Huxley track, followed by the Mount Mccoll track. Then we'll be heading out to Ocean Beach for a camp, and finally, we'll be taking on the Pyman's Inland track for a play in the mud. This trip has got it all. Scenic tracks, epic beach drives, and mud, lovely mud. First though, Jake wants us to take a track out into the Bald Hills just outside Queenstown so that we can get a good look at our playground for this trip. Hey Jake, what's this track all about, mate? Looks like it goes pretty much directly up. Is that the case?
It'll just take us up to the top of these hills here. The track was originally put in here for maintenance to the power lines. That's what I'm led to believe anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense. I reckon we're going to have a shocking view when we get to the top. Won't be any good at all.
It'd be terrible, mate, but there's a couple of good little hill climbs that'll be nice and challenging for us after that rain last night. Made it a bit greasy, so we'll see how we go.
That's pretty unusual, isn't it, to get a bit of rain here in Tassie?
Unheard of, mate, especially on the west coast.
Righto, let's put the old D-Maxi in D for go and give it a crack, eh? Just a stunning part of the world. Will you look at the views? Everywhere you look, there's something to see in Tassie. It's got to be one of my favourite states. Hanging a left here.
It looks like a bit of a go track, mate.
Yes, I don't even know if a goat would want to go up there. Doesn't look like it sees a whole heap of traffic. There's a set of wheel tracks in front of me that tell a story.
I can see that, mate. Looks pretty slippery.
Someone's had a go at this, got a bit up and then slid all the way back down again.
I hope Jake and Elliot know how to back out real fast. I don't know what it looks like when 4 tonnes come sliding back down the hill towards them.
Mate, I might just wait back here and make sure you get a bit of traction, eh?
Traction, that's what we need. Look at it go.
Oh, that looks slippery.
Oh, got the wheel spinning.
That's remarkably slippery. That's remarkably slippery. I gotta say, I was absolutely blown away by just how slippery this clay is.
Get into it!
Defies logic. I think I'm going to have to take a slightly different approach and maybe even a slightly different line here. I'm going to have knocked all the slippery bits off of you blokes. You're just going to walk up this. How good is the D-Max and how good is traction control? Without that, we would not have made it up this slippery slope. Wow, that's unbelievable.
What I say to come up, Graham?
Yeah, come on up.
Righto.
Sean's up next, but of course, the big Dirty 30 with the 35s, he just walked up there. Easy does it, mate. Really good drive.
It's a little bit greasy out there.
Here we Gotta love the auto.
The big 79 with that awesome automatic in it. Well, Rocket, did you even notice there was a hill there, mate? I didn't think so. Jake and Elliot, of course, they're locals up here. Hills like this are nothing to them. Straight up and over as if it wasn't even there.
What was that?
Now, of course, Queenstown is famous, renowned for these bald hills that surround the town site. And, of course, the rich mining history of the past is the reason for that. There was a lot of waste material and, well, I guess management practices weren't as good back then as they are today, and that's why the hills are as bald as they are, because of the chemicals that were leached into the ground, and the vegetation, of course, was killed off. Today, of course, you're left with that vista, which is so very, very typical of Queenstown. This region really is mountainous, and that means that we are in for some super steep tracks. This terrain is certainly going to test us and our vehicles. It's very rocky and very loose. Okay, here we go. Time to get into it. I think momentum's going to be my friend here. Try and build up a bit down the bottom and see if it'll carry me to the top. I tell you what, the tracks out here are so darn steep in places, and really shaly as well. Slow and steady. I'm just trying to keep the momentum up, but at the same time, really minimise wheel spin. Also trying to pick a line here. For me, trying to really concentrate on the high points on the track and drive over the high points as opposed to dropping a wheel in a rut and potentially lose traction.
I'll tell you what, these hill climbs are well worth it in Tasmania. You're nearly guaranteed every time you get up there, you're going to be rewarded with some of the most scenic sights you'll ever see. One of the things you'll find about these really loose, shaly rock steps is there's absolutely no traction whatsoever. I think the key with driving this sort of terrain is to really concentrate on throttle control. I mean, you don't want to be varying that throttle up and down in your rev range. You want to try and hold it nice and consistent. So you can basically avoid wheel spin. That'll get you more traction further up the hill. Here we go. Looks like we're going straight up here. Fingers crossed and hang on.
That was quite a little steep bit, that one. Got a bit on it there, Rocket. You've thrown a few rocks at us. Yeah, she feels it very scrabbly.
Oh, the view at the top of this, it better be worthwhile. And we weren't disappointed. Look at the view. Oh, the view, it's all around 180 degree, 360 degree view. That is something else. I don't know where I'm going here. Wowzers.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
The mountains are so tall, they go up into the clouds.
It's epic, this place of ours. Absolutely fantastic.
I've got to get out and have a look at this. This truly is a spectacular place with huge mountains rising up out of the landscape, complete with cascading waterfalls. It really takes your breath away. Have a look at that, will you? That is something else, isn't it?
You got an awesome view on both sides.
You do?
Too.
Yeah, you've got the dirty 30 behind us. Is that it?
No.
Yeah, you are.
No.
I've been looking forward to coming back to Tassie for so long. And right now, it's not disappointing one bit. Looking over my shoulder though, it's going to do a typical Tasmanian thing. Clouds are coming in, I reckon we're going to get a bit of rain. I think we get back on the tracks. What do you say, boys? Done?
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
Wow, that really did set the scene for what we've got to come. Hey, Jake, Elliot, got a copy back there, boys?
Yeah, mate, sure do.
What's the go? Oh, look at that hill in front. Gee whiz, this is a spectacular bit of track. What's the go with this track, mate?
This is the Mount Huxley track. It's about 15 k's long. It's a nice scenic drive for the first part. Gets you into it fairly easy, and then gets a little bit gnarlier and a bit steep towards the end, right towards the end there.
Tends to be the case with tracks in Tassie. They almost lull you into a false sense of security and then smack you in the back of the head when you're not watching.
I suppose that's one of the good things about coming to Tassie, and even if you don't know where tracks are, just pretty much take any dirt track and you're pretty much guaranteed to need to lock the hubs in and all that sort of jazz.
The Mount Huxley track starts just a few kilometres out of Queenstown and will take you through some rugged terrain offering views of the mountains in this World Heritage area. Hey, Shauno, you know, over the years we've been travelling, all the track we've done, all the places we've been, I reckon you don't see this anywhere else. This is the only place you'll see this.
Yeah, you did right, mate. You could literally take a photo, show somebody, and they'll pick straight away you're on the west coast of Tassie.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Look at this. This is just Have a look at that hill in front of us. That's just, it's like we're driving in the Andes or something. Look at that thing.
So these are absolute whoppers.
There's a mountain just out of Queenstown's called Mount Aerosmith, and that's about 1,000 metres above sea level.
Pretty soon, and our four-wheel drives are pointing upwards to the sky once more. Hey, Shauno, she's getting a bit rugged up here, mate.
Yeah, mate, it sure does get a bit rugged. Just look at the VMS now, mate. There's a wide junction. I think we take the right-hand track. There's a fair few tracks here, so I might actually make a bit of a trail on here, and so we can follow it out if we do get lost.
I was just about to say, mate, I hope you know how to get back out of here again. I think we've actually got to follow our way back out that we came in, but with all these turns, it's so easy to get disorientated.
Yeah, I'll just quickly make a quick track, and we can follow the breadcrumb trail, even.
Yeah, righto, mate, good one. I'll keep punting on up this hill. It just goes directly up. Oh, hang on, it goes directly up here as well.
What does it look like up there, Graham? What have you got?
Oh, we've got a bit of a rocky climb up ahead here, mate. Looks like it was kind of carved out at one stage. I'm guessing it probably was.
A lot of these routes were made for the dams to get all the supplies in.
Yeah, Rogie, copy that. I'm going to use two hands here. Having stopped for a moment, Shauno looks like he's having some issues. Nah, he's all right. He's just practicing his hill starts.
You're one of those guys, you really need an automatic.
It's all right, mate. I haven't been driving long.
Mate, they just make sense, don't they? They make sense.
They do on the real tricky bits they do. They make it so much easier. At least you don't go stalling your engine.
And there are plenty of tricky little bits on this track. The D-Max is an automatic too, and it's eating these tracks for breakfast. Hey lads, we got a bit of a hill here. Might just do this one at a time, eh boys?
Copy that, mate.
This is what I would call a typical Tasmanian track. Super steep, but the bonus here is it's mostly rock, and that means good traction.
There's a left-hand dogleg in that one on the way up, guys. Come on up.
Yeah, it's steep and shaly, mate. I've certainly got my back planted firmly in the seat. Tell you what, just before this trip, I fitted an auto locker to the rear, and obviously the rear is always locked. It just made all these hill climbs so easy. Hello, Rocket. I'm up the top, mate.
All right, on my way.
Rocket Rod, of course, in the big 79's got an auto just like myself, and he will do exactly as I have. Choose manual mode, the gear that suits the truck the best, and well, he'll just crawl up here like it's not even there.
Geez, they're not wrong about the sharp dog leg halfway up.
This really is a steep and committing track. Stopping could mean you will lose traction and not get going again. We've made it up without a drama, and we're faced with this amazing sight. I'm guessing that large body of water down there, very spectacular body of water, that's Lake Burberry, right?
That is correct. Lake Burberry is a man-made dam. Obviously, as you can see, they're not islands, they're just old mountains.
That's phenomenal. Now, are you down on water a bit, are you?
The water is down, and as you can see, the white ring around the base of all the islands is where the water usually sits.
Yeah, that's a fair bit of water down, isn't it? I thought you blokes got a lot of rain here.
You know yourself, it never stops raining here, but yes, as far as actual heavy downfall goes, I do believe they are down.
It's the same all around the country. About this time of day, I start thinking about a cold beer and a campsite. I don't mind a camp with a view, mate. What do you reckon about this one here?
Mate, I reckon this one looks fantastic. Probably one of the best views you'll get on the west coast, just quietly.
Have a go at this one. You're coming in. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, fellas.
This has got to be one of the most beautiful camps I've experienced, and we've arrived at just the right time. To be here and witness the setting sun over this wild landscape while standing on what feels like the top of the world, it's just the best. This camp was actually fairly wild, and as you can see, we've had to put the trucks wherever we could find the best flat ground.
Yep. I'll tell you what, this is an absolute spectacular campsite. Little problem though, on the side of a hill. Now when you're trying to set a swag, of course you want the most flat ground you can find, but I'm not so lucky right now. I'll tell you one little tip. It's always better sleeping with your head uphill and your feet facing downhill rather than on a side angle. When you're on a side angle, you have one of the worst night's sleep. You can actually hack it if your head's uphill. Okay, I think this is gonna be me tonight.
Now, it's summer in Tassie, so the weather's pretty good, but We're at elevation here, and we all know that the seasons in Tassie can go from perfect to downright miserable at the drop of a hat. So we're preparing for everything. You can see I've placed out my King's awning, but I've not got complacent. I've also pegged it down with 2 guide ropes because if the wind comes up in the middle of the night, the last thing I want to do is have to get up and put that awning back out again. Owning a 4-wheel drive to me really is about stumbling on these picture-perfect campsites in the middle of nowhere. Really, this is about as good as views get as far as I'm concerned, and it's all because a 4-wheel drive brought me up here. This is the life, eh? Guys, you've got to get out here. Feel the breeze on your face and experience this for yourselves. Stick around because in part 2, Mount Mccoll has got Rocket on the edge of his seat.
Oh, Jesus, Rocket.
We've packed up camp early this morning and we're on to our next location, the Mount Mccoll track.
There's a fun little section going up there, Rocket.
As long as I can keep one of my 2 front wheels on the ground, I can still steer.
You should be alright.
The Mount Mccoll track is a 22-kilometre drive from start to finish and is rated with a medium difficulty. As well as being used for sightseeing, Elliot tells me that these days rafters use the track to access the mighty Franklin River, and this is exactly where we're heading. There are, however, some steep and shaly climbs to tackle along the way. Gee whiz, it's actually remarkably steep coming up through here. Of course, with the old auto here, it's making me look good if I'm honest. Just almost set and forget in here. Traction control, that's a modern science. I tell you what, for those of you that have never experienced it, I urge you to have a crack because it really is something that you've got to, sorry, a bit bumpy through there. It's something you've got to experience to understand just how well it will work. Lifting wheels is a very real possibility when you're tackling steep climbs, especially in an IFS 4-wheel drive. The trick is to ensure that all the wheels keep turning and traction is maintained. The traction control in the D-Max means that even when a wheel is off the ground, the remaining 3 wheels have power. That's amazing. That's just traction control working the whole way through there. Wouldn't have got up there without that. I don't know what, that's science. That's what that is.
You know, one of my favourite types of 4-wheel driving is rock ledges. I mean, it's such a technical style of driving, and it's a big. Here's a bit of a rock step right now. This will test us. This will test us. Nice and steady. Pick the line. Oh, big wheel lift. There we go. There we go. Up the hill. I think where a lot of people get unstuck when it comes to rock ledges is they pick the right line, but they don't have the confidence to really commit. I suppose that's what makes rock driving so exciting. You really do have to commit once you choose that line.
Here comes Rocket in his 79, and he's easily the longest and heaviest vehicle here. There's a fun little section coming up there, Rocket.
As long as I can keep one of my 2 front wheels on the ground, I can still steer.
Rocket knows that the 79 likes to lift a wheel, so he's cautious of that big hole. But, whoa, check that out.
I think I picked a bad line here.
Oh, Jesus, Rocket.
You alright?
Yeah, he's on a bit of an angle.
You got yourself on the mad lane, just let us catch up, mate. What's the go, Rocket? You need us to come back?
No, I'm just rethinking this, that's all.
Copy that. If you go hard left hand down, that'll swing the front end back round and you've got a bit of room.
He's wobbling around there because he's right on his limit before he goes over. What he does next in this situation is crucial.
Is my left rear going to come up or not?
Your left rear's still going to come down for about another foot or two.
So before it's going to come back up, so it's a little sketchy.
Jake's taking a closer look at the situation before Rod makes his next move.
Right, yeah, what happened there?
You're about this far.
I think Rocket's just got himself in a bit of a pickle.
Now, Jake really knows his stuff, and of course, Rod trusts his
Do you reckon
judgment.
go forward or back?
Dial a frack of right hand and start sneaking, you should come down.
I think we all know that feeling that Rod has right now. You can see it in his face. Keeping a very close eye on Jake, Rod is following instruction. Gently does it. And there we go. That's a great feeling. The front right is coming down.
Thank God I got through that.
Sounds like you had a pucker moment, mate.
Oh, I had a major bloody pucker moment then, but I tell you what, Jake and Elliot did a fantastic job of getting me through that one, I tell you. I didn't know whether to go backwards and forwards, and all I know is I got a great big cliff on the left-hand side.
Righto, Rocket, we're about to retrace your footsteps. We'll show you how the coils do it, mate.
Show me how it's supposed to be done, and then I'll tell you how jealous you are that you can't lift the wheel as high as I can.
Well, would you look at that? Goes to show the difference that a coil sprung patrol makes at that hole.
That was so uneventful, it was unbelievable.
That thing has some serious flex. Good on you, Jake.
Yeah, it'd have to be, mate. I've done a quick look at the VMS as well. It says it's about 760 metres above sea level. It's pretty high.
Quite a windy track up there, isn't it?
Right now, we've reached the start of the descent towards the Franklin River. When you're tackling descents, engine braking is incredibly important. It gives you better control and helps save your brakes. Now it's getting a bit steeper. Now, when I get to these steep parts down here, I actually come across to the manual mode on the auto and just select first gear and pretty much just let the truck do all the work, which is what it's doing now. Of course, engine braking, pretty darn good. Traction control knows what it's doing, looking after itself. And I can really just pick a line, concentrate on making sure that I'm picking the best line that I possibly can. A lot of rock steps through here too, so I'm trying to go down as evenly as possible, front down, back down, but not getting off camber if I can help it. As we drive along, taking in the sights, it's easy to forget that a historical protest was fought just at the end of this track. In 1978, the Tasmanian Hydroelectric Commission announced their intention to build a dam on the Franklin River. But by 1982, the site at the end of this track became a battleground for a monumental campaign to stop the dam being built. The No Dams campaign was one of the biggest environmental movements in Australian history, and in 1983, the campaign proved successful. The dam was stopped and the river was saved. All right. Well, as you can see, wow, that is really steep down below me as well. Things often don't look steep on camera, but I'll tell you what this is. We're heading down to the famous Franklin River right now. You've all heard about the Franklin River. I've never seen it before. I still haven't, I can hear it. I really am keen at least once just to get down and have a look at the mighty, magical Franklin. They reckon it's some of the freshest water in the world. Won't be by the time Shauno looks at it though. Oh. And there it is, finally. I won't lie, that was one heck of a walk. Distance-wise, it wasn't that far. I think it's about 300 metres, but it is vertical. It's straight down all the way. But to come down and actually lay eyes on the mighty Franklin River, I don't think any one of us will disagree. This is such a special spot. The bad news, my good friend, is we're only halfway. We're going to go back up that. So I think we'll just soak this up for a bit before we attempt that, mate.
Yeah, about an hour and a half.
Folks, look, if you ever get a chance, if you're ever in this part of Australia, I urge you to come down and check out one of the last remaining truly wild rivers on Earth. The climb out from the river wasn't easy, like I predicted, and it got Shauno thinking about food. What you got in here, mate?
Look at this roast.
That is
a big roast.
That's a half a pig.
I'll tell you what, this morning I had it in the freezer section. I've got, of course, the dual zone Waco fridge here. Defrosted it in the fridge.
Yep. So how long did that take to defrost? What's all since now? So.
Oh, it's taken all day.
Yeah.
Still pretty cold in there.
Yep.
And
all right. So how are you going to do this?
I've got some oven bags.
You're a thinker.
We'll need those.
Are these brand spanking? They are. I like them.
They are. Olive oil.
The oil from the olive.
And I should have on the front of the Waco. Yep, some salt and pepper.
Look out! Look out! He's getting all gourmet on us.
What I'm going to do is probably double bag the roast.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, let's get one first, then we'll double bag it.
Yeah, exactly right.
Okay, I'm ready with the first. Look at that slab of meat.
Put him in there.
Now, if you hold that again, let's double bag it. There you go. Pop that in there.
Right. Now let me get a little bit flush here.
Yep. Hang on, I'll just rip that one as well.
You got to open it up like that. That's the key. Just
You happy with that?
yeah, a fair bit. Looking all right. Bit of salt and pepper, mate.
Yeah, that's the go. Don't be shy.
Nah.
You got the lid on that? Nope. That'll do, donkey.
I like to put a fair bit of salt on the
You really
pork
do, don't you?
Try and, especially on the skin there.
I don't think we're going to get crispy skin out of that, but we'll see how we go.
Challenge, mate. Trying to make these fit into there.
My advice to you would be to keep that top bit up.
So it breathes and does its thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's...
yes! Shut the door. Don't think anything of it. I'm going to drive really carefully in this old leaf-sprung truck. We start smelling bacon, mate. Don't need to pull over.
All right.
We've got to turn him on.
Turn that on.
Right.
Turn that thing on.
Right.
All right, that's on. I'll let you put the Waco away. I'm going to go and start up the truck. We'll see if we can get out of this track. What do you say? With the roast in the oven, it was time to say goodbye to the mountains and point our four-wheel drives towards the coast. We're aiming to get to Ocean Beach near Strawn and to take a beach drive to camp near the Henty Dunes. This is turning out to be one of those cracking days. According to my VMS there, Jake and Elliot, this sandy track means that we are heading towards the big blue stuff. There it is, I just got a glimpse.
You know, Tassie's not really known for its beaches, but it probably has some of the best beaches anywhere in Australia.
Hey, settle down, all right? Enough of that talk, we'll get you over to WA, show you a thing or two. Hey, hang on. Look at this beach. Look at this beach.
There's one thing I can guarantee, they're better than WA beaches.
We've dropped down onto the beach near Macquarie Heads, and I've got to tell you, it's just beautiful down here. Just looking out over Macquarie Harbour, it's actually kind of a cool thing to be able to do. I don't get down here very often at all. In fact, this is actually the first time I've driven on this part of the beach. I've been to Macquarie Harbour before, but I've never actually driven on this part of the beach. Macquarie Harbour here, of course, was set up as a prison way back in the day. Was used, of course, to house British convicts, but later on it took on a number of Irish patriots, and then it took on a number of Aboriginals as well. It was actually said to be an extremely tough prison, really, really rugged place to be incarcerated. Freezing cold, conditions would have been absolutely miserable, and I can only imagine that those that were incarcerated probably didn't do that much, nor deserve really to be put in those sort of conditions by today's standards at any rate. Really was a pretty nasty time in Australia's history. Today though, this area is all about tourism, and for us four-wheel drivers, the place is awesome. This coastal environment through here, as beautiful as it is, has got one little tricky element to it, and that's, I guess we call it quicksand. I don't really know what the technical term for it is, but it's an area of really moist sand that's been super saturated. And of course, once you get on top of that with any weight, you just sink down very, very deep. Now, it's not so much the fact that you sink, it's the fact that the vehicle causes a suction. For a truck like Rockets to go down 4.5 tonne into quicksand with that suction that it would create, yeah, it would be extraordinarily difficult to get him out. And along this stretch of beach, you can see the remains of vehicles that have been caught out in the past. The side of this is a reminder to keep your wits about you and to take precautions. Ocean Beach is approximately 36 kilometres in length and stretches all the way from Macquarie Harbour to Trial Harbour. Within that stretch, there are two major river crossings at the Henty and Little Henty rivers. At times, the mouth of both rivers can be blocked by sandbars. At other times, the rivers can be raging torrents flowing directly into the sea. Hey lads, we've got that Henty River coming up here. Judging by the depth on our right-hand side, I reckon we might go down to the mouth over here on the left. What do you reckon? There's a river very similar to this in southwest WA called the Warren River. Comes out almost identical to this, and I know the place to cross that is down by the ocean. Sounds kind of crazy, but it's the shallowest part. On arrival, it was plain to see that the river, as it is right now, could be way too dangerous to cross. What do you reckon? There's a window of about 30 seconds where it looks a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Then there's another 8 to 12 minutes where it's absolutely not.
You say goodbye to your vehicle.
Yeah, like now, you don't want to be out there now. So what's the go? What do you reckon, Rocket?
Nah, I think it's too old.
No? Oh, I'm good. You want to do it?
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
He's good because it's got his car.
It's safe at home.
It didn't take long to make a call. See, none of us wanted our four-wheel drives to end up like those wrecks we saw before. The great thing about travelling around with locals is, of course, they always know another way around. You could blink and miss it, but there's an inland track that will take us directly to camp. With that roast firmly on my mind, I point my D-Max away from the beach and head up the inland track. Sean does the same, but with his weight and this soft sand, he's gone down.
Right at the crest of this sort of hill, I came up in third low range. It wasn't the right gear, and I've gone down right on the crest, so I've bellied out. It's going to quickly get those max tracks out. Hopefully get straight out here without too much drama and give it another go.
The real trick with max tracks is twofold. Firstly, dig away the sand in front of your tyre and make sure you position the max tracks as hard up against the tyre as you possibly can. The second tip is to idle out of there. I know it doesn't feel like that's what you should be doing, but by idling it means you're not going to do any damage to the max track and you're actually increasing your traction by harnessing the grip on the track itself.
Reverse, and the key with max tracks is to do it quite slowly.
Ease out. Good work, Shauno. Now, hurry up with the roast, mate.
Second low range, I think. I'm going to give it a real go.
This time, I think he's going to hit it with a lot more momentum. That's it. He's up and over the soft patch. Rocket's also having a few dramas. Must be the weight those guys are carrying, I'd reckon. With a couple more attempts, Rocket's made it out. However, by pushing his truck as hard as he has been, he's realised he's got some overheating issues, and it soon becomes obvious why. I see your problem here, Rocket.
It's a bit warm, Rocket. Yeah. Water.
It's losing a lot of water.
There's a great big hole in the radiator.
What, big one?
About that big.
That'll explain that coolant, mate.
Certainly would.
I can't fix that.
Well, I'm not carrying a spare one.
No, in all seriousness, how about we limp to camp? Or limp
Sort it
to
out
town?
from there, yeah.
Sort it out from there. There's not going to do much on this track.
No, we're not going to get any further today.
I'll just let it cool down for 10 and then...
Running around the corner from camp, so.
All right, well,
All
let's get going.
All right, let's do this.
I'll let you do that because I can't reach the top. With a short tow for Rocket, we've made it into camp. The camp here is situated right at the edge of the bay. In fact, we're surrounded almost on all sides by beach. I love camps like this. Grass underneath, flat ground, plenty of firewood, the sound of the wind in the trees, and in the distance, the sound of waves breaking on sand. I'll take an oceanside camp any day of the week. Now, of course, I've set the awning up and put the tent underneath. You're probably all thinking, well, you're going to put your swag in there. I'm actually not tonight. I'm going to put my swag down behind it. The reason I've set that up is because I'm such a good bloke. It is going to rain tonight, and I know that the camera crew have got a lot of work to do. So I'm going to let them put all their cameras in there, their laptops, all the GoPros, etc., and they can sit in there tonight, nice and dry, and download all the footage. You owe me a beer, boys. Pretty soon, and it's time to eat, and not before time too. I can tell you, I am starving. Roast pork rolls coming up. Oh, this is going to be good.
Get it out.
Can I open up?
Should be done.
Whoa!
It's pretty hot in there.
Yeah, it's really hot in there. Whoa, that's some heat
Yeah,
there.
there we go.
Look at that.
Whoa.
Plenty of juices in there, dude. Worry about that.
That's all right.
Okay, I'm just going to sort of
No, that's how you should
introduce this to the world.
Because I don't even know it's cooked, to be honest. I haven't checked it once.
No,
I just sort of set and forget. Except this is probably takes a little bit more.
Yeah, there you go. It's a boy. Mr. Well.
How do we go? How do we go?
Well, yep, have a go. It looks cooked.
It does. Oh,
Look at
come on.
that.
Come on.
Oh, look at that.
It just falls apart. That's what you want.
That is ridiculous.
Tell you what, guys, that was probably 5 hours maybe in the travel buddy, and it's fallen apart on the fork. I'll tell you what we're going to do tonight though is we're going to use this roast. We're going to cut it all up, or this will probably just pull apart almost. And we'll put it straight into a few buns. I've boiled a bit of gravy up as well. So gravy, applesauce, buns, roast pork. Look at that. Yes. That is just falling apart.
That's like pulled pork.
It is pulled pork essentially.
Pay a lot of money for that. Good.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll call the boys in.
Yeah, do it.
Do it. There they are.
Yeah, they come.
Boys, grab a bun. This one's mine.
Step this way, I'll gravy you. All right, I'll give you a fair bit because I know you like it.
Don't hold back, mate.
Here we go, you ready?
Beautiful. You've done a great job there, Shauno.
How good is that? I'll tell you what, I nearly swallowed mine.
What the heck?
I'm like a gannet.
That's
It's just straight down.
yeah, it's really good, man.
I'll tell you what, guys, After a long day of forward driving, a simple dinner can sometimes be the best. What are you going to call this one? Roast pulled pork burgers.
Yep, that's what we'll call it. You pull pork like no one ever met, mate.
Tell you
Absolutely
what,
superb.
how good is that? I'm going to make a second, I think.
Don't go anywhere, guys, because coming up in part 3, we get deep in Tassie's finest pieman mud.
Whoa.
It's the final day of our trip, and down here at Granville Harbour, preparations are being made. Well, we might be trucked down, but we're not a man down. You see, Rocket was not going to miss out on the pieman track for any money at all. He's going to jump in with me, and we're going to tackle what I believe is my favourite track in southwest Tasmania. Pieman track, it's full of mud, it's got some climbs, and it's also, just about its entire length, has got these cracking ocean views. I'm stoked. Let's get into this. Come on, boys, let's go. Just about to start this track. I just wanted to go over a few things with you, if that's all right.
Yeah.
This side of the truck, this is my area. Just, you don't touch anything down here. Don't touch that stick. I'll look after all. And this thing here, that one's mine, all right? Well,
You sure you don't want me on that side?
I've got this. I've got this. Now, if at any point things get a little bit hairy for you,
Yep.
you've got a handle there,
And I've got a handle to bail.
and you've got that's the handle you should be looking for. The one there. Our plan is to take on the inland track, which is littered with bog holes. But we've got to get there first, and that means a few challenges along this coastline. I don't think Rod's used to being a passenger. Well, he's about to have a crash course.
Oh, jeez. You sure you don't want me driving?
There we go. Cameron.
Oh, it just looks sloppy in there.
Hey, Shauno, you've not done this track before, have you?
No, mate, I've done the Climbys now and also Sandy Cape, but never this one.
I think this will be a really nice little feather in your cap. It's one of those tracks, there's some really tough bits in this. I don't think all of us will make it through unscathed, but the whole thing's just got views like this on the left-hand side. It's just stunning.
Yeah, wow, mate, sign me up.
Here we go. Big run up.
Get on it, mate.
Yes.
Oh,
Get up there.
go.
Oh, look at that. Look at it go. Look at it go.
Yes, you've
Oh,
got this.
no, we don't.
Oh, so close.
I thought I was going to make it.
What are you going to try different, Graham?
Leave Rocket out.
You reckon he's going to leave me behind? Now he's blaming me for everything. You watch.
Would you pick a gear here? Or would you let the auto do the work here?
I'd pick a gear.
All right, well, let's do that. What do you go, second?
I go second if the revs go up too high, so you might be third and then quick change down to second while still on the throttle.
I've got a lot of power on tap in
Go,
this thing.
go, 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 go,
See,
go.
I can really put your foot down.
Oh,
Yeah, get into it.
Perfect.
You, oh no,
You
he's buttoned up the
stopped.
top. Don't worry, we've got this,
We got it?
we've got this, we've got this.
Yes.
Yes!
Hey.
Oh, I thought that was going to be very embarrassing.
It was. We had a moment of changing our minds, I think, but we got up.
Yeah, I saw that. Let's hope Graham's not carrying the eggs, eh?
Along here on the pieman track, there's some really fun four-wheel driving. Just be careful though, and keep an eye out for oncoming traffic, particularly on these sandy ridge tracks. Okay, Shauno's seen how I've done it. I have a feeling he knows exactly what to do. As you can see though, he's only just made it. It's that extra power that the Dirty 30 has that's allowed him to crawl his way to the top. Good work, mate.
Wow, that only just made it, I tell ya.
Jake and Elliot last up. They must have done this track 100 times, and you can tell. Look at them, cool as cucumbers. One hand on the steering wheel. It's like the hill's not even there.
Waltzed it in.
The inland track starts just after Arburg Bay, which is some 10 kilometres along the coastline from Granville. The weather can get seriously wild here on the west coast, which means that these tracks can change a lot over time. In peak season, there can be a fair bit of traffic, and this can also affect track conditions. We've come up on a choice of bog holes, and I'm picking this one. Ready for
We have
this?
a big puddle here. Go on.
Some of this water has been sat here for a while, and it stinks.
Ain't call it a Dirty 30 for nothing.
Ah well, better embrace it because there's a lot more to come. Oh, hang on, only motorbikes go through here.
Oh, this is the bad bit. Big angle. A little bit of obstacle to get around
That's
to.
all right,
in the
that's
beginning.
all right. I got this. I got this.
Copy that.
I had this.
No, you
I had
haven't.
this. I had it. It's going to come back a bit.
We got a little bit stuck.
Don't worry, Rocket. Don't worry.
Don't back off. Don't back off. Come on.
Yes.
Keep going.
That's the drive of the century. It's the drive
Come on.
Oh no!
Yes.
Drive of the century.
That was a great drive from Graham. I got to tell you, that was brilliantly done. Great throttle control too.
Oh dear. This track is what I'd call reasonably steep, but it's got some very deep ruts. Shauno's got a set of raw suspension on the Dirty 30, and I tell you, that thing is flexing like a sick giraffe.
Look at that. I'm actually convinced that the parents of this Dirty 30 were two angry comp trucks that bred together to make some little hybrid.
Jake and Elliot, look at them laughing in there. I think it speaks for itself. Four-wheel driving is fun. Four-wheel driving with mates is even better. It's not long and we've reached Arburg Bay.
Don't go too slow.
No, you've got to get up and over them and not launch.
And then power in here and then...
Lift.
So, yeah, it's there. You've got the motion. There.
You can tell by the formation of the sand that this beach cops a lot of strong wind. Again, this is a beach where you want to keep an eye out for that sinking sand. Okay, it's time to tackle the inland track.
Wow.
Shall we have a crack at this or not?
Wow.
Yeah, let's have a crack at
You're
this.
going to diff that? You reckon? All right, go for
Let's
it.
have a go. Let's
go.
We've got science on our side, Rocket. And don't forget, I pick amazingly good lines.
Go on. Oh, yeah!
No faith in the little maxi.
We didn't think we were going to do that. And absolutely
Hey, I knew we would.
Oh,
was
Graham
right.
reckons he did.
Shauno is no stranger to ruts. He's done this before, and you can see. Good drive, mate. Really good.
Look at it, flax. What a weapon.
Jake built his truck for these tracks, and it really shows. It's eating it up like it's not even there. So this is not a car swallower? Oh,
Oh, there's a little weed in there. I think you might be right.
we should be okay.
Here we go. Whoa, bit soft. Beautifully done.
Just made it. A lot of these bog holes up here can be remarkably deep, but they all share one thing in common. The majority of them have a very hard, firm base.
Beauty. Come on through, fellas.
The trick to getting into these, of course, is to go in slow and then get on the throttle once you're in there. This looks a little bit soft. I'm just going to ease my way into this. I'm just going to ease my way into this and hope for the best, all right?
Come on. You're almost. You've got this. No. Backwards. Come on. Oh, push it, punch it. We're a bit stuck. We got this. We have. Yes.
The mighty D-Max!
Come on. See if you can do that.
Sean answers with a resounding yes. However, these bog holes are starting to get the better of us, beginning with Sean's nostrils. He hates bad smells.
Oh, it stinks.
After that, it's our cameraman that gets taken out by the mud. This is fantastic.
Yeah, I like that. Just impure thoughts out. Pure
And then, Rocket and I fall victim to the mud.
No. Whoa, it rained mud.
I'm going to winch out off that tree over there.
All right, just give us a minute.
I don't need to step anywhere. I've got ground level.
Can't even get out.
Ah, yeah. Rocket, what were you thinking?
So you boys could use Hercules.
Oh, look at him. Look at him. He's like a superhero, only not super.
Superhero.
This is a textbook winch recovery. So much so that there's even a perfect winch point directly in front of the D-Max. Okay, so pretty simple recovery here. I'm really just going to pop myself up and out of here. I think there'll be a lip that I'm going to climb up and out, and I'll almost be able to drive out of this, but when undertaking any winching job, never forget safety. Once everything's rigged up, we do a final check and then everybody stays well back. Now it's just up to me and Rocket to pull the mighty D-Max back out onto flat ground. I'm good. Yeah.
The important thing about this challenge is I get further than Graham.
Now you got to get out and fix it.
Good drive, sir. Good drive. Mate.
Where's your winch?
Have a look at this replay.
Shauno thinks he's got further than us, but I'm not so sure.
That's where we got to.
That's a good drive. Didn't even,
Oh, it's a good
I
drive.
forgot my lockers and everything.
That's a solid drive.
Didn't even put my lockers in, mate.
Seeing as he's been bragging so much, I think we'll just let him fetch his own winch rope, which just so happens to be buried.
Just tell you what, I reckon it's commonplace when you forward row that mates help mates, especially in recovery situations. Usually when you get stuck, your mates rush to your help and all that sort of stuff. As soon as I get stuck, my mates over the next hill. Right on.
Boys will be boys.
Oh, I'm gonna go. Come out with a bit of rope.
Okay, I think he's suffered enough.
I will need that.
Once again, Shauno's using the same recovery point as us, and that Dominator winch has got its work cut out for it here. Shaun is a lot heavier than the D-Max, and he's now pulling it through some very thick mud. Have a look at that though. These winches continue to amaze me.
Oh, that was good. Tell you what, Tassie mud, I've said it once, I'll say it a million times. It's some of the stickiest stuff you'll ever see, and it smells delightful.
Here comes Jake. Something tells me he's going to make this.
Up it. Yeah. Nice drive.
That was insane.
Very nice drive.
Did you notice the hole?
You took the easy line, I saw.
Yeah.
Obviously took.
We felt this little undulation. I just sort of put the power down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice driver. Next time try and take the hard line like the rest of us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No,
Did I miss it?
You did, you went on the easy. It's okay, look, we'll keep rolling, we keep moving. It's
Guessing you won't mention it too much.
With that little obstacle behind us, it was time to push on and really have some fun. You know, great four-wheel drive trips for me are all about diversity. The more I can see, the more activities, the more sights that I can pack into one trip, the better. And Tasmania, I've got to say, has got it all. Once again, the mighty D-Max has performed better than I could have hoped. I really am becoming quite attached to this little beast, and I hope to drive it for a long time yet.
D-Maxian!
We've got nothing in common. This moment's all I'll ever need.
The rest of that day was so much fun, but like everything, it had to end somewhere. And that somewhere is right here on the edge of Granville Harbour, looking out over the ocean.
You know what, folks, there's something about west coasts. Stay with me here. West coast of Australia, probably one of the most epic places you'll ever go to. That's right. How about the west coast of Fraser Island or the west coast of Moreton Island? If you've ever been there, you'll know exactly what I mean. Sensational spots. And then right here, the west coast of Tasmania. This is going to be one of my all-time favourite locations in Australia. I always look forward to coming down here, and for good reason. Great four-wheel driving, epic tracks, and the scenery, the coastal scenery especially, will blow your mind. I'll definitely be coming back here. Hopefully I'll see you here, maybe I won't, but I'll definitely catch you next time on four-wheel drive action. Come on, you lot, in the trucks, let's go.
For more on this adventure and to find out all the details that you didn't see on camera, read my article in the mag. Believe me, you'll want to know this stuff. If you enjoyed this DVD, don't forget that you can watch every episode of Four Wheel Drive Action because it's available for download in HD from our massive online library. There are over 100 episodes available for your viewing pleasure. Also, if you want to keep up to date with Four Wheel Drive Action, then like our Facebook page and you'll get heaps of videos, epic pics, competitions and more. Get involved. You won't regret it.
This is a film clip to my new song,
Why are we waiting?
CJ Waterfall. I believe I can touch
Elliot and Jack sitting in the car. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
something, yeah. Oh, they're coming.
There are a lot of local inhabitants. Oh! National 4x4 Outdoors Fishing and Boating Expo. Come and say to us, we're going to be there.
We're going to be there, sure, will we? Oh, let's do that again, sorry. Let's come on. I'm in.
Like a commercial.
Look, mate, I really don't suggest you try this on your own. We are trained professionals. We do this a lot. Most days.
Some people would call us
chefs.
chefs,
Yeah.
that's the word.
Some do. The majority of them are wrong.
I'm just a regular bloke trying to make a meal.
Your door's not shut.
There you go, Pete.
The best tip I can give you is just always come up with good tips. You know, your campmates will thank you for it. Mine don't. I'm a grateful bunch, really. Especially that hairy little bloke down there.
You know, I'm going to make a call. If you've not done the Cape yet, if you haven't done the Simo yet, and you're in the southern half of Australia, I would almost say don't. Just don't. Book yourself a ferry ticket and come over here and do this first. No one agrees. no one thinks that's a good idea.
Alright, so this is where Graham will sit. And this is where I'm going to sit. Right here.
Am I a bit too high for Graham, you think?
I think you're about right there. Maybe a bit shorter. There we go. You got it.
That's it.
That's it.
I got it.
What are you standing on?
Standing on a rock, mate.
Fair enough.
Does that get me a bit higher?
I'll show you where you want.
No, plant me in there. You'll grow 6 of me. I decided to park myself right in here in a nice, tight bit of mud and demonstrate exactly what not to do. Sean will come through and he'll show you exactly how to drive this.
That's what usually happens on these trips.
Not what happens at all, but for this particular Southwest Tasmania, what I'd really like to bring to the fore here is just how only the toughest trucks can make it to this point of the west coast of Tasmania.